Alright, what's going on, LF fam? Figured we'll talk on this topic. As you guys can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about competing, some of the common mistakes I've seen competing, just like sort of an overall look at what you should kind of know, avoid, and not do before like competing, or even if you're even ready to compete. So I got this little list going. I wanted to go over my top 5 mistakes when competing. If I look down, you guys know why. So first thing first is not even being aware of what's to come, which is I think the main thing, because I get a lot of questions like, oh, you know, I kind of want to get ready for a show next year, or this or the third. Just if you've never like been near somebody competing, or even done a prep yourself, of course, just know it's not as simple, or it's just like, yeah, I just gotta diet down for 12 weeks and get on stage. I'm gonna feel the same as I do right now. I'm gonna look good and great, and I'm gonna feel great as well. Wrong. And anybody who's competed knows the difference. Once you start dropping body fat, yeah, at first, this is another topic we're gonna get to. At first your body gives and gives, and you'll lose some body fat. After a while, your body starts fighting you, and you just have to dig deeper. So the way I like to think of it is, the more body fat you drop, the harder it is to get to the next one. So if you get to 12%, that's, you know, it's easy to get to 11. Getting to 10% is going to be a little bit harder than getting to 11. Getting to 9% is going to be harder than getting to 10, and so on and so on. So just imagine getting to like 6-7% body fat. It's a lot harder than just trying to just drop. So one thing is not being aware of what's to come. That's the physical part, right? Like, it's going to be a shit load of work. You were talking here, it's different on anybody in your level of like muscle maturity, how much muscle mass you have with your metabolism and such, but it is a drain physically. And now we're talking here emotionally. So emotionally, the one thing people don't understand is when your body fat drops that low, you just walk, you're like a walking zombie. You feel, we're talking here if you're getting truly shredded, we're talking here below 8% body fat. And no, just because you got a little bit of abs doesn't mean you're 10%. I probably got down to, if we're gonna be realistic, maybe 7%. And I'll put up a picture here of how I looked on stage, or a prep. That's probably around 7% body fat. Again, you can't really just go with what you're looking in the mirror, because everybody holds differently. So even unless you get tested, like a DEXA scan or whatever, you're never gonna really know. But that's just like my rough estimate. So again, just know it's gonna be a mental freaking battle. You're gonna feel like crap. You're gonna be like, what I like to say is hangry times 10 at all times. You're just agitated, you're just tired. It's just like, it's not fun, at least at that point, just because your body's in survival mode, right? Your body thinks there's not food going around, and you're fighting every day to just like survive in a sense. This goes back to like what, you know, our body's not made to do this. So it goes back to like tens and thousands of years of what our body does. So if you're like not getting food and you're constantly doing all this work and workload, it really thinks that something's wrong, something's going on. You're in straight up fight or flight mode, and your body thinks it's like, you know, trying to survive. So that's that. You feel like crap, you look great, but that's the price we pay, right? That's why it's not sustainable. That's why a lot of people ask me, oh, can you hold on to this conditioning for so long? I'm like, one, I'm not trying to live in the gym, spend 4 hours doing all that work. 2, it's not healthy at all. Healthy is where I, like, you know, I'm at right now, a good 10 to 12% true 10 to 12% body fat, where you still can, you know, you're still walking around, you're not just like tired, and you're not all like, what is it, like mentally fatigued as well. So that's something to know. Make sure you're aware of what's to come, what you're preparing for, and that's one. So might have to chop this up, but yeah. So mistake number 2 I see being done all the time is starting off too harsh, right? So they're like, all right, shit, I got a show in 16 weeks, that's it, no more carbs, all the way cardio up, fasted cardio in the morning, etc, etc. You're gonna lose a lot of fat really quick, especially if you're coming from not dieting at all. But you're also gonna hit that wall way quicker than you should. You know, you're gonna definitely drop body fat really quick, and then you're gonna not be able to drop anymore because you gave full throttle in the beginning. So yeah, you might go from like 16 to 10, 9%. But if you cut all the carbs, you did all this cardio, what are you gonna do left? You have nothing much to go to get down to 8, 7, 6%. So the main thing is giving yourself enough time, prepare ahead. Start off slow. This is why I truly start my preps. I start usually cutting, and then I go into a prep. So I start my cut, I just slowly bring myself into a deficit, probably don't even add cardio for a few weeks in, and then start really prepping maybe like 12 weeks out, which is just same thing, more of a deficit, more cardio. And then like 5 weeks out is when we drop the hammer. We give it everything. We drop our carbs as low as we really want to go, do as much cardio as we can, and we adjust, of course, accordingly. So one thing you want to avoid is going too hard too quick. One thing you're gonna hit that wall really quick is just the law of diminishing returns. Yeah, at a certain point you're gonna see all this progress and then it's just gonna stagnate. So make sure you give yourself enough room to just like a stepping stone, a ladder, to just kind of keep continuing progress, keep getting in a deficit, give yourself those tools. So don't do everything right at once. So that's tip number 2. Don't start too harsh. Give yourself enough time, enough leeway to keep making progress. All right, number 3 mistake I've seen, and this one just kind of hurts to say because it's true and there's a lot of guys that it goes, but not being ready to compete. You can't just train for a year or 2 and think you're ready to step on stage. No, I'm sorry. Especially not 2018 where the competition is as tough as it is. Baby, back then, I mean, I made the mistake of competing when I was, not even a mistake, but it was early enough that men's physique wasn't what it is now. But I competed after 4.5 years of lifting. 21, probably still too early, but at least back then it wasn't as it is now. You saw a lot of guys who weren't as muscular, who wasn't all jacked. It was still new. So 2014, you could have gotten away with training a few years and then stepping into it. But at this point, I really think you should have to be training at least 5 years. Have the muscular maturity, just have those lines going. If you've been training for a long time, you know what I'm talking about when it comes to muscle maturity. You have to have that dense muscle. You can't just train a year or 2, have little abs showing and thinking that you're gonna place well. I mean, now, if you want to do it just for the experience or that, go right ahead. I truly do not recommend at all, because at that point you should be really focusing on building. Build for freaking 4 or 5 years. Cut down, many cuts here and there, but do not get into crazy deficits where you're trying to get to 6% body fat when you have not that much muscle to even show in the first place. So just a little brutal truth, in my opinion. If you don't have the time, you don't have the muscle maturity, don't do a show. Just wait your time. Competing is always going to be there. There's no rush. You shouldn't rush at all. Build the best physique you can, and then, you know, when the time is right, do so. So bam, that's number 3. Right, so number 4, going back into it, is going to be not getting lean enough. Now this is the one thing where people think just because they got a little abs showing, or like, you know, they see some cuts that they haven't really seen, or a vein, does not make you lean. I'm sorry, it doesn't. You have to get freaking lean. When you think you're lean enough, get leaner, because these guys, you got to come in shredded. That's the one thing. Don't come in soft. There's no point. Especially when those lights hits you, you're gonna see all that body fat. Make sure you give yourself enough time. What I like to say is, I like to start my preps, at least think about it like 20 weeks out, like kind of have a show in mind and start a cut then, and really prep as we get closer. But that goes back to tip number 1, or mistake number 1 I see, which is not being prepared mentally or physically. Just give yourself enough time. Get freaking shredded. We're talking here like small, like you could just grab barely any skin over your stomach. You got freaking shredded glutes if you're doing bodybuilding. Make sure you guys coming right, because you want to step on stage, you want to look good. If you want to be competitive, you have to bring that conditioning. That's number 1. So bam, that's number 4 mistake I see, not being ready conditioning wise. So that's the mistake number 5 that I see. Now this one is actually someone who's competed or actually just finished a show or whatever. This is, you know, we're all tying it into show mistakes, competition mistakes, and this is post-show rebound. Now I am a victim to this. This is coming from straight up experience. After my shows, I used to be one of those people that just freaking threw everything out the window, freaking did my, you know, went to 7-Eleven, grabbed freaking donuts and this and the third, like anything my heart desires. Because you're coming from a place, again, going back to number 1, which is the main thing, you're freaking mentally exhausted. All those 16 weeks of you depriving yourself from food, it all adds up. Like, so yeah, during the prep, you're mentally strong, where you could be like, ah, no, I'm on prep, I don't need this, I don't need the donut, I don't need this pizza, I'm good. Once that one motivation leaves, once you did that show and you don't have nothing holding you back, you just open like a floodgate to freaking hell. And now you just, anything you eat, you see you want to eat, you can literally have your stomach extended, like it hurts, and you still want to eat. So that's number 1 mistake if you're gonna compete or you're competing, to definitely freaking avoid. My thing, what I do now, I think it just comes also from experience, and just like during prep, reminding yourself that after, it's not a free-for-all. You don't have just like a freaking free window to eat what you want. you still got to stay somewhat on point because you work so hard, you don't want to just throw it away, right? So book a photo shoot. That's what I did. Book a photo shoot a week after, so you know you have to stay lean. Bring meals days of the show, and just keep reminding yourself it's not a freebie, right? It's not a freebie. Just because you're done with the show doesn't mean the work is over. Now the hard part really begins, because like I said, you don't have that one thing holding you back to be like, shit, I gotta stay lean, or I gotta stay on point. So make sure you don't post-show rebound. You will gain freaking 10 pounds of fat in one night. Trust me, you will. I'm telling you from experience. So not worth throwing it all away. Stay on point. No post-show rebound. Stay away from the sugar actually too. Like, you can have a meal, not saying don't, but stay away from the sugar because it literally hits your body, your chemicals in your brain as like a drug. And that's one thing you cannot stop yourself. Once those hormones starts going, your brain starts telling you things, it's a wrap. So that's number 5 that I always see. Kind of little overview of what mistakes I've seen, kind of little tips I want to talk about competing. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, found it useful. Make sure you're ready for this if you decide to do so, because I get emails all the time from people I feel like might not be ready. Some people are, but maybe not aware of what's actually gonna be happening. So yeah, that's my number 5 top 5 mistakes, and I'll see you guys next time, next video. Peace.
Take a roll, I'll be fine, baby, can you feel the fire?
Yeah, I gotta get used to that. Remember, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, man, give us a subscribe.